Welcome back, everyone, to the show. Great to be here with you today on our first Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. Always nice to be able to share my weekends with you if you're tuning in live. We answer 6 questions on Saturdays, 6 questions on Sundays. And well, today is no different. We're going to be going over all things wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging. And I just want to let people know always where we're at in terms of our listenership and I should say people writing in. So we're starting today's questions at 3:22. That means March 22nd. So if you wrote in before March 22nd, your question has already been answered because we answer them in the time frame they've come in. So you can find your question answered at stephencabral.com/podcast. You can check previous Cabral house calls there. You can even search by category. And if you asked your question, you wrote in after 3:22, yours will be coming in an upcoming show. So today is May 4th, and you can see we're just a bit behind, but that is the way that it goes, right? The more people that write in, well, the more questions we have to answer. Love being able to do this, love being able to share hopefully some of my experience that I've had over the past now 22 plus years, and seeing, as I've said before, many hundreds of thousands of clients. So let's get right into it. Let's see where the first question is coming in. This one is from Patty. Patty writes in saying, is ketoacidosis something people should worry about when doing keto diets? I'm not a proponent of keto diets, and I know the dangers of consuming so much fat and little carbohydrates, but I was wondering if the acidity that builds up from ketones is also another reason as why keto diets are so detrimental. All right, that's a great question. So there is something called ketoacidosis, where the acids, so your body's breaking down fatty acids, typically instead of using glucose to create ketones, right? So that's essentially how the process is working. Most of this is taking place from the adipose tissue, that's your body fat, being then used by the liver in order to produce the ketones that we're looking at. And there's other processes in the body, so I'm not going to say that that's not part of it. The issue is that the kidneys have to filter all of this blood as well, so that can become part of the issue. Now, ketoacidosis is more of a concern in diabetics. So diabetic ketoacidosis is, yes, something that you should be worried about for sure if you are diabetic. What does that look like? Well, typically, diabetic ketoacidosis, or anybody entering ketoacidosis, would be that they start to have maybe, some stomach pain, some nausea. They could have sweating. They could have a change in body odor, a change in actually like a fruity smell to their breath. They might have like excessive thirst, drinking just water after water after water, and then frequent urination as well. So that's certainly something to look at. That's an important one to look at. But in general, yes, as you're producing ketones, remember, there's no free ride for your body, right? So that means that your body needs to buffer those acids in general. So by going on more of a keto-based diet, you have to understand that it is, to a large degree, when done chronically, detrimental to the body. So is it an issue for 24 hours, 48 hours? No, I wouldn't say so. It could be an issue if you're diabetic, of course. Is it an issue if you're doing this going on 4 and 6 months? It very well could be. And the reason is, 1, you need to process all of those acids. And then 2, your body has to buffer those acids as well. And your body will buffer them, right? So it's not that your blood pH won't maintain somewhere between a 7.2 and a 7.4 or so, but you need to then produce more of those bicarbonates, and minerals will be used at a much larger degree in order to buffer that. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, but I have no problem with someone like doing a detox and getting into more of a state of ketosis, or maybe even using it for like 2 or 3 weeks. But if you go to my intermittent fasting podcast and my weight loss podcast, you'll see that chronic keto-based diets certainly lead to hormonal issues, especially in women, and not great for the metabolism and overall health. All right. So it's not that our body can't do it. It can. It's there for a reason. Can it be helpful maybe in the short term? Yeah, potentially. And then besides that, long term, that's more of a medical-based diet. And there is a time and place for that as well. But hopefully you're working with a medical practitioner on that as well. All right, Katie's up next. Katie says, hi, Dr. Cabral. I know you've spoken about both filtered and spring water many times in your podcast. I'm debating Berkey filter or local spring water delivery. What should be considered when debating, and would one be more beneficial than the other? A friend who does spring water said that filtered water takes out the electrolytes. Do you have any insight on this? Okay. Yeah, great questions. Well, your friend is only partially right, but they are partially right. So it depends on your filter. So some filters will, without a doubt, take out a lot of electrolytes. Some need to, right? Because if you're using tap water and you're in like certain places in California, the calcium is way too high. So you don't want that much calcium in your water. So that would not be good for, well, even showering in, but certainly not to take in for your arteries and for your health as well. Now, if you have decent tap water, then a Berkey water filter, and I did a test on that, so hopefully you saw that on my Friday review, what it came out as. The Berkey is an excellent, excellent filter. It really is. The problem is it does not yet have the capacity to take out fluoride. They've removed their fluoride filters. They weren't working ideally. And the good news is the Berkey does take out the harmful things that I found in my tap water. Now, local spring water is always best. Like if you can get local spring water, always best. But you just have to make sure that, well, there's no bacteria in it. Like that's pretty important, right? So that you don't get sick. But besides that, spring water, fresh, pure spring water, delivered in a glass jar, that's number one, without a doubt. The nice thing is the Berkey's in stainless steel, so there's no plastics to worry about. Water delivery, as long as it's not heated, sure, it could be then stored in plastic, hard plastic, not soft plastics. But even better, if you can get local spring water that's been tested, that hasn't been touched, and they can deliver it in glass. That would be the best of the best, in my opinion. And I'll find that one day, I'm sure, for myself as well. All right. Susan's up next. Susan says, I was just diagnosed with mild COPD and given Spiriva for maintenance. What can I do naturally to stop the spread of the disease and help with my lung capacity? Thank you so much. All right. Well, luckily, I've actually chatted about this many times. So let's see if I can find my previous podcast on COPD, which, by the way, stands for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Let's see if I can find this. COPD, not for everyone. It may not be this listener as well. The majority of people have it just almost like emphysema from smoking. But if you have COPD not from smoking, well, that may actually be better news. Maybe we can find a real good other underlying root cause. All right, so COPD, I'm typing that in at stephencabral.com/podcasts. And let's see, we've got a show at 9:54. So show 954, show 1065, show 1570, that's directly on COPD, 1579, improve your lung function, and 1848. All right. So go to stephencabral.com/podcast, type in COPD, and you will find that 2, 4, 5 shows. All right. But let me just give you a little bit of background as well. So one, on this podcast, I can't provide any medical advice, medical cures, or medical treatment plans, or medical diagnosis. What I recommend, though, for all diseases of the body is to actually look at what are the underlying root causes. And one of the big ones with COPD is inflammation. So you have to ask yourself, Susan, what's causing my inflammation? Is it too many omega-6s in my diet? Maybe. Is it gut-based issues? Maybe. Is it environmental toxins? Maybe, right? Is it heavy metals? Another maybe, right? So we've got a lot of things to look at. So my recommendation is to run the Big 5 labs. If you run the Big 5 labs, you'll start to look at your hormone levels, stress levels, you'll look at your vitamin levels, nutrient levels, detox, and much more. So if you can, go to stephencabral.com/labs, choose the Big 5 if you're able to. If not, the starter kit would be great too. And you can work on that. If not, again, I'm not providing any medical advice or any medical treatment plans, but you'll want to look at something like the Daily Foundational Protocol Level 2. And you'll want to make that smoothie every day with high, powerful anti-inflammatory nutrition, antioxidants, those omega-3s every day, like all of those things to help balance the body. And then ideally, you find the root cause as well. So hopefully that was helpful, Susan. Thank you for writing in. And also check out those 5 other shows as well, because I have specific advice for those too, like potentially looking at N-acetylcysteine, other antioxidants as well, like alpha-lipoic acid. So there you go. Betsy's up next. Betsy says, hello, is Dr. Cabral taking new clients himself? I'm very interested in booking an appointment with him directly. Best Betsy. Okay, well, Betsy, just keep in mind that this Ask Cabral, your question is not going to be answered for about 6 to 8 weeks. So anybody who has like a customer service question should always just email support@equa.life. That's EQUI.LIFE, or even support@stevencabral.com. Either way, we'll make sure you get taken care of that same day, Monday through Friday. But I'm happy to answer your question. So I oversee a team of about 20 practitioners, about 20 people on our health coaching team. And that enables me to work on cases with the team a couple times a week of the hardest cases that maybe are new, that don't come up as often. So I get to work with the entire team, which is great. And we are now doing well over 1,000 appointments. We see a couple thousand labs a month. So that is that's what I feel is like my best way to be of service, is to help thousands of people rather than 30, 40 people a week. So that's what I'm doing right now. So do know, though, that if yours is a case that we typically have not seen, well, then I help review that lab with the team as well. But we have an amazing, amazing team. I mean, we're talking about, in my opinion, best of the best, like great, great practitioners. They're absolutely fantastic. So you're in good hands. To find out more about joining our health coaching practice, head on over to stevencabral.com/health-coaching. All right. Lauren is up next. Lauren says, "Hello, Dr. C. Thank you for all you do. I was on birth control pill for 15 or so years. Finally got to try for a family. I had 56-day cycles for months. About 3 to 4 months post-pill, I developed insomnia along with other issues such as acne, weight gain. I took your hormones accelerator course and focused on reducing resistance training, did your detox, decreased high estrogen foods, got my cycle back down to 36 days. Oh, that's fantastic. Happy to hear that, Lauren. My sleep was really bad for 2 to 3 months. It's getting better, but I keep having this weird twitch when I fall asleep. I looked it up and it's possibly called a hypnic jerk. They get so bad that they will completely wake me up. They are reduced when I leave the bed and sleep on the couch. I have become at peace knowing that I will survive another day if I don't get great sleep. These are stresses of my life right now, and I'm working on techniques to de-stress. For a while, I thought it was related to weight training, even in the AM, but the theory is inconsistent with jerking episodes. I'm wondering your thoughts on what could be causing this hypnic jerk. Thank you for all you do. P.S. Currently doing your heavy metal detox." Okay, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm actually going to see, I've never referred to it as hypnic jerk on the podcast, but let me see if I can find, so 1059, I just typed in jerk at stevencabral.com/podcast. There's, oh, no, there it is right there. 1059. I've answered this before. I didn't even know that I answered this before. So you'll definitely want to check out episode 1059. And well, and there's a few other shows on it, but I would just check out that show as well. But let me go over just a little bit with you, because it's always nice to hear my take on it 1,000 shows ago. I mean, that was what, 3 years ago? Almost 3 years ago. So when I've seen this many times in my practice, and I mean, I've even had it, most of us have had it every once in a while. So it says you're falling asleep, your body literally jerks you awake. Almost every time I've seen it around the body being over-tired and over-stressed. So essentially, there is this shift, potentially, this is a theory, moving from the sympathetic nervous system over to the parasympathetic nervous system. And it's not gradual, and it's not gentle, and there's literally a jerk of the muscles. Now, let's start to look at the actual biochemistry and pathology of how this may work. So our muscles work with all four electrolytes, but namely more calcium and magnesium. So a jerk of the muscles, certainly calcium is needed, and a relaxation of the muscles, certainly magnesium is needed. Sodium and potassium are important as well, but that's more from a hydration level. Potassium, though, does calm the nervous system and the muscle. That means the muscles as well, because the nervous system is what innervates the muscles. So there is a excitation of the nervous system, which then innervates the muscles. Taking that out of, I guess, medical-based speak and making it more normal, your nervous system tells your muscles what to do. So when you get that jerk, there is a excitation of the nervous system that then excites the muscles. This can be an issue I've seen in my practice from people that are, again, this is not medical advice, could be deficient in magnesium, or simply that day they didn't get enough magnesium based on the level of stress their body was under, physical stress, mental stress, etc. And so what I would look at is, if you haven't already done the Big Five, or if you haven't already done, let's just say even just the minerals and metals test to look at your electrolyte levels in terms of stress, I would look at that. Now, there are other causes, and you're already looking into them, which is great. Heavy metals causing inflammation of the nervous system, that's a good one to look at. And also depleted B vitamins. So your B6, B12, and folate would be really important as well for the nervous system. So those you could find actually on the starter kit as well. So if you did the starter kit, that would give you the minerals and metals test plus the Candida metabolic and vitamins test. That's what I would do. You can find the starter kit at stephencabral.com/labs. You're doing so well, Lauren, though. I mean, I want to commend you. You've improved your cycle time. You're on this path and this journey to wellness. And so I commend you. You're doing great. All right, Maria is up next. Our last question for the day. Thank you for all you do. I have several questions regarding my children. I don't like giving pain medicine, but sometimes it's needed. Can you recommend a pain medicine? Also, my daughter has underarm body odor and has had it since she was 2. Can there be a root cause for this? Last question. My daughters are 6 and 7 and constantly sick with a cold, a cough, a stomach flu. It feels like it's always something. Should I be concerned, or is this part of building their immune system? That's a really good question. So let's go through all three of those. Pain medicine. There is a company, and I believe I reviewed them on a Friday review, that takes out all the artificial colors and artificial flavors. Wow, I wish I could remember the name of this company right now. Well, you know what? Let me see if I can just type it in real quick. No artificial color. We'll just type in acetaminophen. All right, so it's the same product, but no artificial stuff in it. It's called Genexa or something like that. It's Genexa. I'm pretty sure this is it. It's dye-free. I'm pretty sure this is it. Let me look at the label real quick. I never usually do this during a show to look things up, but I just want to make sure that I'm giving you the right type. Yes, I believe this is the company. And so if I go to Genexa, and yes, they have what? They've got allergy. They've got the first clean medicine company. All right. Well, so there you go. So if you ever feel like you need an ibuprofen or you need acetaminophen, that could be a cleaner version. All right. The second one is, let's see, underarm odor in young children. Well, I've talked about body odor recently. That can be due to infection. It can be due to gut issues. It can be due to poor detox. It can be due to imbalanced pH in the body. It can be hormones, but it's probably not hormones at 6 and 7 years old. So there's certainly something to look at there. And then your children are battling coughs and stomach flu. I would run the starter kit. I really would. I would look at minerals, vitamin levels, gut-based issues, and it's really simple because it's a couple snips of hair, and then it's a simple urine collection. I run them with my daughters every single year. So that's what I would look at because, well, here's the thing. Kids getting sick even a half dozen times a year is not abnormal because they're building their immune system. I mean, they really are. So it's not like if your kids go to school or daycare and they're around other kids, they get sick. It's just, it shouldn't last for more than, 3-4 days, maybe a week max. And they should get better. Like, that's the thing. And so the sign of a poor immune system, again, not providing medical advice, would be if they're not getting well, if it takes them a long time, like that's the issue. So, and there could be something going on. I mean, they shouldn't be getting a stomach flu that often. It should just be like, sniffles and that type of thing. So that's what I'd look at. I mean, but again, they could be just totally fine, just normal kid stuff. So that at least gets you started. I would look at that. I would definitely run the starter kit. Now, if you're able to, and it might be a good first place to start because maybe their gut isn't as balanced and maybe that's where they need the help. So hopefully this was helpful today. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I appreciate you. I will be back tomorrow with another Cabral House Call answering 6 more of our community's questions. Take care and enjoy your weekend.